Hi everyone, it's Les from Comfortable Shoes Studio, and I'm going to do a little video about my DIY travel pocket-size watercolor palettes. Now, I've made a lot of these over the years, and this is just a small selection of them. I've collected tons of Altoids tins and other small tins from other brands over the years, and I've used those to make watercolor palettes with recycled materials. Nowadays, I use small quarter and half size refillable pans that I picked up pretty cheaply through Temu. You can find them on AliExpress. You can find them on Amazon now. It used to be a lot harder to find refillable pans for watercolors, and they were pretty expensive. So I always leaned towards DIY methods. I'll show you the most complicated one. This is a slide out palette, or it was a mint tin from, I believe, Starbucks. It had a little handful of mints in it. It slides out from the side like that. And then you flip that over and it clips into place to give you a little bit of a wash area, or area to mix washes. It doesn't work very well in that regard, but as a palette, it is very slim, can fit into almost any pocket. It used to fit in better. This one is quite old. So yeah, so there's little, there we go, that's better. So it gives you a mixing area here. I gave myself a large wedge there, or large chunk there to mix into. And then basically some full-size pan areas to have my colors in. And I use this primarily for landscapes and urban sketching back in the day. And this is made out of the raised areas that give me the wells, is made out of kneadable epoxy putty. So Plumber's Putty works, JB Weld Steel Stick, any of the kneadable mixable putties work really well. This one, I think I used Elmer's. And I always keep Plumber's Putty on hand for repairs around the house, but also DIY things like this. So basically, I went in, I rolled little snakes of the putty, laid them out where I wanted them. I think I actually might have scratched into the tin to figure out where I would want things initially. And then I used gesso to paint everything afterwards. Gesso is not a good choice. Spray paint is a much better choice for something that's actually going to come in contact with your paints. And this has worked really, really well. It's a little heavier because of the epoxy putty than some of the methods that I utilize now. But this was the only method that would have worked with this super, super slim tin. So another method that I've used quite successfully, I think both of these use it. You can get in the frozen section, at least in my grocery stores, these flats with lids of frozen garlic, cilantro, various herbs and things. Are usually in the door of our freezer section. And I think that's a 1 centimeter square, and it's about 1.5 centimeters deep. These are excellent for making palettes. They're just the right height to fit into most mint tins. The Vermints it was one that I used to get at Whole Foods. And what I did was I taped this off and spray painted the mixing area, and actually inside of here too, I believe. Well, maybe I didn't. And I used hot glue to hold, or yeah, this is hot glue to hold it in place. They do fit pretty snugly, but I wanted it more snug. So yeah, you can use hot glue to hold those in place. And then I've got a little rag here to wipe off my brush. These worked really, really well. And then this tin, I think, is the same. No, this is a Sucret's tin. Yeah, I sanded it down a little bit and gave myself a little neutral gray and white spray down. And this one I used quite a bit. No little rag in there, but it's also hot glued into place so that this doesn't leave, this doesn't move around too much. And then these are have a magnet dumped in there. I can't remember which one. This one has a magnet. I don't think this one, no. So this one has a magnet in here so that I can have things stick to it and it'll stick other places. So that's those are 2 types of tins. And then the Altoids small tin. This is one of my favorites. It fits in any pocket, anywhere, anytime, and works really, really well. This also, you can see spray. Actually, this is gessoed. So I did gesso this with a nice rough gesso, and then this is also gessoed. However, well, let me tell you what this one is made out of. So you notice little round wells. These wells are made out of medication packets. So here's a medication packet. So when you push the med out, it bursts through this foil. And for one of these tins, you just literally take a pair of scissors. And I like to give myself as much distance side to side. So I'm gonna snip off as much as I can. And so when you push them through, these do get deformed. And I'm going to show you how to fix that in a minute. But what you do is you take the foil lining and you start peeling it off. Most of this will peel off. You can get some really good, try not, there. So a lot of that will peel off. Sometimes you gotta put some tweezers to peel. Get that foil out of there. Not all of it will peel off, but you'll get a good portion of it. This step isn't totally necessary. It depends on what you like. I just didn't like the foil on there. It doesn't hurt your watercolors at all. So yeah, peel off as much of it as you want. And there we go. That's as much as I'm going to bother with. So then you've got to deal with the deformation of these. And just grab a pencil and push those back out. And that'll give you a nice deep well or deeper well. These are a great size. So you can see those are getting back to their kind of original shape. I'll spend a few minutes doing that and getting those into a good shape. Now, once I do that, I go in and I spray paint the back side of this. I just have white enamel spray paint the back side of that, let it dry thoroughly. You might want to degrease it with a little rubbing alcohol to get any finger oils off of it so your paint will stick the best. If you don't have spray paint or you don't want to use spray paint, you can brush this reverse side with a craft acrylic and it'll stick pretty well. Gesso will also stick pretty well. And this is the side where you put your paints and mix things. So then what you do is you just, figure out how much of this you need and you want. So I always end up with a little bit of a gap. So to make this fit an Altoids tin, I would cut off one line here. So there's that. So that fits much better. And then what I would do is I would use a Sharpie to trace around this and then just trim it up, get it where you want it, trim it to size, and then fit it inside your Altoids tin. After that, you're going to fill the pans. This is going to be, this would hold 8 colors. And it works really well. You can also, the gum that comes in the little push out packets, that works really well. That gives you a larger pan, but you end up with fewer paints inside your tin. Let's say you just wanted to have 6 colors. You could also trim this up so you have 6 colors in there, and then you could end up with a little sponge in there to wipe off your brush, or you could, you know, put water in there and rinse. That would tend to rust your tin, but you do whatever you want. So anyway, that's how I make my little mini tins that are out of 100% recycled materials, or upcycled, whatever you want to call it. And it gives me a nice little mini pocket set to use around, just keep in my pocket. It works great. That and a water brush, and you have pretty much everything you need for some urban sketching and sketching out and about, or using in your art journal. Works really, really well in my experience. So just a couple of ideas on how you can make your own recycled and upcycled watercolor palette with just a few materials. Oh, and finally, a hint and tip. So with these, hot glue worked fine. However, with these, if you use hot glue, it will melt and deform, will not work properly. You will lose everything. It's annoying. You can also go on Temu, and I'll show those in another episode. But you can get mini tins now for not a lot of money, that work as well as the homemade. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them on Temu, really inexpensively, and they come with a little 6-well or 8-well palette that goes inside the tin and fits perfectly, so you don't have to DIY it. But if you want to DIY something, you want to recycle materials, here you go, some ideas. Anyway, with that, thank you for being here. Thanks for asking the question. Stamping Shelly. I can't remember YouTube names. I should really look it up. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate the questions. Thank you for the comments and everyone sticking through and interacting with the videos. I really appreciate it. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye.